Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you, I have a bit of an unboxing, but I'm also going to be doing some range stuff as well, as today I am showing off my brand new Tisas Raider. Yeah, I got one of these too. I've been looking at this thing since essentially it was shown off at the SHOT Show. I've actually been wanting to get a Colt M45A1 for a while now because it is MARSOC's most modern 1911. I'm a huge 1911 fanboy, but yeah, I really can't afford Colt prices. Now, understand, folks, as I'm showing off what's in the box here, that I've actually already had this open. I've actually checked over the gun, tore it apart, cleaned it, lubed it the whole 9 yards because I am going to be taking it out to the range here shortly to put it through some paces, which I'm going to get some footage of that as well, and that'll be a part of this video here in a little bit. But let's talk about what is in the case. As you can see here, real quick, you got the owner's manual in the back here. There was also some additional paperwork, cleaning brush. You also get a cleaning rod. So they actually did a really good job when it comes to making sure that you can do at least basic maintenance to your handgun. As well as it comes with a pistol lock that goes around the trigger. I couldn't care about this. It'll be locked in a safe anyway. And it also comes with a bushing tool, bushing wrench. And actually, I was quite surprised about how good this is. Very, very solid, actually. It is made of plastic, but I thought it was going to be a little bit more flimsy than it was. Now, with that being said, really quick, I forgot to talk about the case. The case is actually pretty good. It does have some texture. I actually like the texture of the case, so prevent it from sliding around, like if I throw it in the trunk of my car or something like that. And it snaps, and then it's also got points for padlocks, so you can actually lock the case up as well. Now, next thing I want to talk about is there was a little tag that was actually tied to the trigger guard of my Tisas Raider, and it's got some information on it here. Now, I know it's not coming in very clearly, so I'm going to say what's on here. Forged 1911, 45 ACP. It is actually a 1911. It's pretty mil-spec, actually. It's really, really close to the clone, or it's really close to the M45A1. I mean, it's almost a perfect clone, if you will, especially for the price tag. It is a forged frame and slide. It has Series 70 internals. Personally, I find Series 70 internals to be the best when it comes to like a stock mil-spec trigger, just a number one. When it comes to that, uses 1911, uses standard 1911 magazines, and then it's hardened before machined. Now, I did talk to the machinist at my machine shop, and I asked him about that. And he said one thing is that's a more expensive way to actually machine something because you actually need either carbide tools or tungsten steel type tools, whatever, to actually machine the hardened steel. However, when it's said and over with, it actually makes the parts stronger because essentially they're trying to machine away any impurities that's in the steel. So it's a really interesting way they went about that. Now, it does come with a spare magazine. From what I understand, these are MagGuard mags. I really don't know because there's really no markings saying that. The only marking that's on the mag is it says 45 ACP. I know it's going to be kind of hard to see because of the shininess of the mag. These are stainless steel mags. And then there's a patent stamp and number on the follower. The mags, I think they'll work fine. They're actually better quality than I expected. I was expecting to see where they welded it and then, filed it down or sanded it down smooth. Honestly, I don't see the weld on the back strap of the mag. I was really quite impressed about that. So I'm not really too sure how the mags were assembled, to be honest, because even when I pushed down the follower, I didn't see any welds on the inside of the magazine whatsoever. So they did a pretty good job on the mags. Now, let's get the star of the show out, because I would never want to mistake that I'm the star of the show. And here is the Tisas Raider. And this is in God's caliber. That is 45 ACP for those of you who don't know. Oh, don't give me shit about 9mm. 45 ACP is God's caliber. Now, the gun itself does come with a magazine, and it also has a part for the chamber, which I'm going to dump that out now. I'm going to load the magazine back in, even though it is empty, folks. But I'm going to go over some of the features of the handgun itself. Try and give you a good look here at the handgun, and go over some of the differences that I'm aware of. I don't know of all the differences, understand, but I am going to go over some of the features here. So let's go tip to butt. So obviously it's bushing. It's a GI style, so it doesn't have a guide rod. It's got the bushing and the spring retainer here, and then of course the internal spring, and then it's got the real short guide rod on the inside for the spring. You have front slide serrations, which, you know, for those of you who like to do your press checks. And actually, I do find those actually pretty nice. But personally, I don't like putting my hands that close to the muzzle. That's just a me thing. It does actually have an accessory rail, which is pretty nice. You can put a light on there, nice and easy. It says Raider on the slide under the injection port. Now, when it comes to the bushing and the barrel itself and the fit of the slide, it is really tight. There's very little in the way of give, which is going to actually make this a more accurate handgun. But there is a little give there, just not that much, I have to say. Now, another thing to point out too, when it comes to the barrel, it is a stainless steel barrel. The grips. Grips are standard 1911 style grips. You can put any standard 1911 grip on here. And honestly, the texture of these grips is really nice. I really like these grips, actually. I like these grips better than the grips that's on my Springfield EMP4. You got serration here on the back strap, however, or sorry, on the mainspring housing, but you don't have any serrations on the front. I would say it'd be nice to have that serration on the front, but, and from what I understand, the M45 does have serrations on the front, but honestly, I think it's perfectly fine just having the back and the sides, the grips. I think the grips are perfectly adequate, to be honest. But I will find out a little bit later when I get this out to the range, and you'll get to see it in action. It does have Novak style sights, just like the M45A1. However, these are not night sights. These are just white dot, but that can be quickly changed, actually pretty cheaply. There is serration on the slide release as well. And from what I understand, the slide release is ambidex. You can actually flip it around, as you can see there. That's my understanding. I'm not 100% sure of how true that is, but that is something I've seen online. So I figured I'd better mention, and maybe for someone who's a left-handed shooter, maybe want to personally take a moment to take a closer look at that just to confirm. It does have ambidex safeties, and I don't think the safety's bad. I think it's quite adequate. It's not the best I've ever felt on a safety, but it's pretty clean. It's pretty crisp. As you can hear, it's pretty audible. So that's not bad. It does also have an enhanced beaver tail, which this is, to me, an enhanced beaver tail anymore on 1911s is an absolute requirement, especially because it's got this, usually the enhanced beaver tails has this little extra bit here, and it helps making sure that the grip safety is engaged when you go to grip the handgun. Plus, it prevents slide bite. and I have a big meaty hand. Even with the even with the 1911 A1 style grip safeties, I still get slide bite here and there, and that's because I have a big bear size hand. Now, one thing I do want to throw out there when it comes to the Tisas Raider, I did do a teardown and I inspected the parts very closely. And actually, while I inspected the parts on the Tisas Raider here, I decided to tear down my Springfield Armory and also compare the parts just to kind of see not just the fit and finish, but I was looking for burrs, I was looking for tooling marks, things of that nature. And honestly, I was really quite impressed with what I found on the Tisas Raider here. They did a really good job on the finish work. There's very little in the way of tooling marks. I did find some tooling marks. There's a lug on the barrel here that holds the rein that keeps the pistol locked together. And there was some tooling marks on that, but it was still really smooth. And honestly, those tooling marks on that lug just does not matter. I didn't really see tooling marks anywhere else. I didn't see any tooling marks like on the back of the barrel or on the chamber there. Just a really good job overall. The other thing I want to point out here too is also the finish. The finish is a dark flat earth. Or sorry, what is that? It's flat dark earth, FDE, where the where the Colt M45A1 is more of a coyote tan. It's a lighter color. Honestly, I like the finish color of this much better. I think it's a very nice looking finish for aesthetics. When it comes to things that, oh, let's do the trigger here. You wanna see this trigger? I love the trigger. So just a little bit of slack. And then it's probably got about a 5.5 pound pull. Let's get a reset here. Oh, as I asked that up because I left the mag in. Okay, let's do that again. So a little bit of slack. Very nice, clean trigger. And nice audible release. I think so. I think the trigger is very nice on this for a stock. Essentially, it's a stock mil-spec style trigger. You also have serrations on the trigger itself, which helps add for texture. But honestly, overall, yeah, you know what? For an MSRP of $750, and honestly, you're going to get these things for less. I actually picked this one up for $680. This is actually really good. I actually am really impressed with what I got. But the proof is in the pudding. Going to have to take it out to the range, put it through its paces, and see what it's got. There is one thing, though, that stands out to me as kind of a disappointment, but it's really a cosmetic thing, is when looking at photos online of the Tisas Raider, the Raider part on the slide here it looks much more pronounced looking at photographs versus actually having the gun in hand. But otherwise, I have nothing to really complain about. So, yeah, let's just get this out to the range. Let's shoot some targets. Let's see what this thing's got. All right, folks, so here we are. We're out here at the range now. Got the Tisas Raider, and we're going to get it ready to do a little bit of shooting, put it through some paces, and see how it does. Well, let's start with the ammo I'm using. I'm actually using 3 different types of ammo, mostly because I want to find out how this gun's going to shoot with different types of ammo. I got some, it's all 230 grain in God's caliber, 45 ACP. Got some Federal here, and that's full metal jacket round nose. Also, I have a box of PMC bronze, also in full metal jacket round nose. And then I have some S&B in hollow points. And I'm actually very curious how the hollow points are going to run, because 1911s can be a little iffy when they're new running hollow points. But let's get a close-up of the bullets here. and then we'll load up some magazines, and then we'll do a bit of shooting. We'll see what's more accurate and how the different rounds run through the Tisas Raider. All right, so just to show you the bullets I have here, the first one here is the Federal Premium. Well, it's not Federal Premium, it's just Federal, but this is the Federal. And then here's the PMC Bronze, and they look very similar to one another when it comes to size, length, and the whole 9 yards. Although one thing I did notice is the Federal actually has a smaller primer, and the primer is slightly different. It's like a nickel coated primer. And then here is the S&B, and as you can see, when it comes to length, it's actually shorter than the Full Metal Jacket round nose. So that might cause a bit of an issue when it comes to feeding. What we're going to find out. So yeah, so there's a good look at these 3 different ammos that I'm going to be using for today. All right, folks, so I'm ready to shoot here. I got 5 rounds loaded up with the Federal American Eagle ammo. Let's see how this cycles through. Let me get my ears on here before I shoot. And let's see what kind of results we get. All right, let's take a look. So at 7 yards, looks like we got one pretty good shot here. This actually really isn't that bad of a grouping. I got one down here though, and that's definitely just me. But all right, let's take and try that PMC for once. All right, folks, got 5 more rounds of God's Caliber here loaded. This is PMC, the PMC Bronze. Let me get my magazine unloaded. As I fumble around, I almost dropped my magazine. Having problems hitting that slider release. There we go. All right. Let's try a different corner of the target. I definitely feel a bit more recoil on those rounds. Let's check this out. All right, folks, so right here's where I was aiming and shooting with the PMC ammo. As you can see, I got a really good group. Actually, much better than I did with the Federal. And these shots were almost touching each other. Looks actually like 3 of them are right there. So yeah, that's a really good group with that PMC ammo. So it seems like, even though it leans a little bit to the right, it seems like actually the PMC ammo might be the way to go for this Tisas Raider. But let's check out the S&B hollow points. All right, folks, got reloaded up. And right now I have actually 5 shots of the hollow point S&B ammo. Let's see how this shoots and cycles. Failure to feed. All right, let's check out the target. All right, so here's the S&B ammo. And I see 4 of the shots is really good, but I got one down here that's really crap. And I'm thinking maybe that jam up got me distracted on that shot. But this does actually also show us another thing. We have 3 different ammos here, and as you can see, we got 3 different groupings, with actually the worst grouping being the hollow point S&B. I want to try something else. I'm going to load up 5 more shots and try this again. All right, folks, I'm back with another 5 rounds of that S&B ammo. However, the big difference is I'm actually using one of my other mags. This is not a Met Guard. This is actually a metal form stainless steel mag. And, you know, reading around online, seems like these might be a higher quality, more reliable mag. Let's see if it makes a difference. All right, let's take a look at the target. All right, folks, let's check out the target here. And essentially what I got with the S&B with the metal form mag is I see there's one down here. There's one here on the edge of the paper. And right there's the other 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I have 2 actually right here. So I have 2 side by side. What I got to say is okay, that grouping was better than the previous grouping, but this S&B ammo seems like a big loser for the Tisas Raider. And really what I want to be shooting out of it is PMC bronze. Also, the other thing I learned is, let me get my sidearm here. The other thing I learned is maybe the metal form mag, when loading hollow points, might actually be a solid winner. Let's try something else. All right, folks, we're going to try some more reliability, a little bit more reliability stuff here. I got both of the Met Guard mags loaded up, or, well, I don't know if they're technically Met Guard, but these are the mags that came with the Tisas Raider. They're both 8-shot mags, got them fully packed with the S&B hollow points. I want to see what happens here. I'm at 15 yards from the target, but I'm realistically more worried about the reliability than the accuracy. But let's see what we can get for accuracy at 15 yards with this thing. And I forgot to take my metal form out of the handgun. That's okay. We'll just shove that in the pocket. Yeah, failure to feed right off the bat. Let's get this slide pulled back and locked. Had to put a little extra effort into getting it out. Let's give it another shot here. Okay. 2 for 2. All right. Well, all right, you know what? We got 7 shots of the mag. Let's try it with 7 shots. These mags from that came with the Tisas Raider just does not want to load this hollow point ammunition. You know what? Let me try the other mag here. So we're definitely having some reliability issues with the Tisas Raider, the mags that came with the Tisas Raider and hollow points. Same issue. It's, let me get a good close-up here on the camera. Essentially what I'm getting is that every time where it's just jamming up on the feed ramp. It's kind of nosediving as it's leaving the magazine. All right. Let me try something else. All right, folks, we're going to try this again, but this time I got 2 metal form mags loaded up, 8 shots each. Let's see what we get. And once again, we're using the S&B hollow points. Nope, another feed issue. And of course, I'm having a hell of a time getting the mag out of the gun. It really buried down in there this time. Yeah, we're still having the same problem. It just does not want to chamber that very first round. Okay, yeah, it's a metal form. Okay, we'll try with 7 shots. Yeah, even the metal form mags are nose diving. Does that look like it popped up? Oh, that's a bit interesting. When I pulled back and locked the slide, the nose of the bullet actually popped up, and I got the chamber. Let's see if we can get the cycle. Okay, we got an empty mag there. Yeah, it did the same thing. Yep. Okay, last round failure feed, but it's halfway fed. Slide lock is not engaged. There we go. So we definitely seem to be having some reliability issues here with the jacketed hollow points. Let's check something else out. All right, folks, here we go, loaded up again. But this time I have 16 rounds, basically 2 magazines, a full metal jacket. These are the Federal. Let's see how these cycle through the gun. I really think I know what's going on, and anybody watching right now that knows 1911s as well as I do probably already knows what's going on with the Tisas Raider here as well. Man, I just can't get that slide release. Okay. I definitely know what's going on with the Tisas Raider here. Now these, by the way, these were the Mech-R mags. They weren't the metal form. So 1911 101, folks. A little bit of history of the 1911 here. So these 1911s were designed in a time period where hollow points just really didn't exist, and essentially things have changed with the hollow point ammo over the years. And I essentially think what's going on is because this gun's not designed for hollow points, technically, the 1911 patterns, the 1911s are jamming up.
It's actually a pretty typical issue with 1911s to jam up when they're new and you're shooting hollow points. What you got to usually do is put about 500, 600, 700 rounds through the things, and they'll get reliable with shooting hollow point ammunition. Now that being said, what we see in here is essentially that the gun is absolutely reliable with the full metal jacket, which I would have expected as much because full metal jacket round nose did exist back when this gun was designed. So, as well as there flat nose and wad cutters and stuff like that. But essentially, the ammunition that I was shooting just did not exist yet when the 1911 was designed. And essentially, since the Tisas Raider is a clone of the Colt M45A1, which in turn is an evolution of the Colt 1911, yeah, it's just being a little stubborn with the hollow point ammunition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some more shooting here. I'm going to get this thing broken, and probably about 500, 600, 700 shots or so, probably about 600 shots, I'll do an update and I'll actually try hollow points again and see what I'm getting performance-wise and reliability-wise out of the Tisas Raider here. But when it comes to just the overall experience and the feel of the gun, I actually really like this. I definitely got to find out what's going on here with the reliability, and honestly, I think it's just a break-in issue. But anyway, folks, I know the video actually went quite long because there's a lot to go over, but hopefully you all enjoyed it. And please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, so that way you can see when I put more videos up about the Tisas Raider. Now, there is one more thing here, and as I was here manipulating the safety, let me get this cocked, press check. Yeah, the safety's pretty good, but I honestly think I'm going to actually put a stronger safety spring into this just to see what it can do, how it will be with a stronger safety spring. You can get like the Dan Wesson springs for they're like $5 or $10 or something like that. So I think I'm going to go through the process of actually replacing the plunger spring just to give it a more positive feedback. So also that's going to be a video I'll do a tutorial on actually replacing the plunger spring. But anyway, folks, once again, thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.